Hello friends, this is Cold Run. Welcome back to the finale, the final episode, just some cleanup of Elden Ring's Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Some last things I want to check out, try out, and see and say before we say farewell to the realm of Shadow. And move on to, I'll be taking a break after this for about maybe a week and a half to finish up some Final Fantasy XIV stuff. And then I might actually start maybe even 2 games in succession here, Dredge and Mass Effect 3. That's my current plan. If I can once I finish up the 14 stuff. So the first thing I want to try here is something that I got a while ago, near the start of the DLC, but may have misunderstood or might be misunderstanding now. It's the deflecting hard tier. This is the, let me see if I can find it here. Enhances, temporarily enhances spontaneous guard and mixed physics. Damage negation and guard poise will be enhanced the moment after assuming a guarding stance. Successfully executing a spontaneous guard will also strengthen guard counters. Apparently you can use this like the Sekiro parry, but I feel like I'm misunderstanding it. I mean, I was never all that good at the Sekiro parry, I guess, but let me try this again. Because I'm hitting the L1 as soon as I see it coming down. And I'm still taking that, I don't know. So it seems like it really is just a timing thing. But and like, if you time it right, you won't take any damage at all. Oh, right, I have to drink the thing. There. Like, I don't think I got it. No, I guess I did get it there. Because that's doing 2310 damage. Whereas if I just block you and counter, does it do 2310? No, it does 1650. So that's a really, that's a cool mechanic. I don't know I would have used it that much, because again, I think you have to be really good to land it effectively, but that makes for some, boy, this seems like a cooler flask than I gave it credit for at first, a cooler hard tier physic flask thing than I would give it credit for. Yeah, it's regular. And that's the big one. And it's actually pretty forgiving, isn't it? Boy, that's an interesting one. Anyway, the next thing I wanted to do is another thing that I hadn't really given much credit to before, which is Palm Blast. Because I was making a list of my favorite weapons, spoiler, I guess ahead, and I was thinking that one of my favorite weapons was the Dry Leaf Arts, but that the Palm Blast it has as a default didn't seem all that great. But apparently it does ginormous poise damage. Not just ginormous poise damage, that's a lot of damage overall. I was just looking to see if it got stunned, not if it got obliterated. Why did I not pay more attention to that before? Okay. Yeah, so this is another one I missed out on. Anyway, the big thing I wanted to look at today, the big piece. Oh, and there was one more thing. Apparently there was actually gear that I'd missed there was like champion gear that I'd missed. I think I probably saw it and just assumed it was the Radon gear, but no, apparently there's like extra Radon gear. Yeah, there is. Young Lion's helm, because this is like him in his prime. The golden helm worn by Radon in his younger years, proudly displaying his heroic red hair, its fitting attire for a lion. When Melania, Blade of Mikola, let the rot flower blossom in Ionia, Radon heard a murmur in his ear. Mikola awaits Mikkel awaits the ill-promised consort. Wait, what? Is this saying that... This is saying that Mikola is doing, like, a 5D chess thing. That, like, Mikola's main reason for... That Melania's main reason for going that way was to kill Radon and get him... for marching that way? Was to kill Radon and get him with Mikola? Why would he need to do that? Why couldn't Mikola just, like, do the hug thing and talk to him? Why was that necessary? I might be misunderstanding that. Let me take a look at the other stuff. Because he was already charmed. It wasn't like he needed to die to make it work, right? I guess he was going after... This was the Shattering. And he was going after... Oh, I like that. How, like, one is gold and the other is, like, the far more worn down version. That's really neat. That's a nice touch. Yeah, it's the same thing. Let the... Mikola awaits the promised consort. And the arm... So the armor has the horns on it. The young Lion Radon's armor has the horns on it. It wasn't coming from his skin. Well, that's actually not... That's hard to say, because, like, the hair, I'm assuming that you can tailor away, like, the hair. Like, so some of this is not actually on the armor, it's just for the look of it. So, hard to... I think it's still hard to say. I'm doing one more level up. Leveling up to intelligence, because I want to try out that needle. But, here's a question. If you were... if I were going an arcane dex build where I use a bunch of Ashes of War, what would you recommend I do differently? Like, should I not have stopped at like 60 vigor or like 60 dex and 60 vigor? Should I have gone like 50 vigor and like gone for like 80 dex and like lots more arcane and like not as much endurance? Like, what would... If you were really going like trying to maximize this sort of build, like how would the stats be different? Oh, the needle is a fist weapon. That's interesting. I was thinking the needle would be Teolea's hidden needle would be a dagger, but no, I guess that makes sense. It's a fist weapon. It's more like a pada than anything. Oh, that's neat. That's really neat. The needle really just looks like it's just hiding in your fist. You just have a fist, you punch someone, and they get needled. It's got to be a strong needle. The Erdtree Chalice never ended up really being anything, did it? I mean, it was like a place that collected a bunch of sap, but I really thought that was going to be like a main story spot. I thought there was going to be like a gate would open up there or something. So I'm looking at a little guide here on how to find Euporia, because I'm not in a fully engaged mood at the moment. Like I'm not going to look for the paintings. I don't care enough honestly about the two paintings. And Euporia, because I didn't see a path at all, and so I'm curious how I get to apparently the secret weapon Euporia. And so I'm looking at the Fextra Life page about this. The area just before the Spiral Rise site of Grace. Backtrack down this. You know, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because when I came to this place, to this particular site of Grace, I was in such a frazzled panic at the time. If I'm remembering this right, I was in such a frazzled panic at the time trying to escape from... Wait, no. Oh, the Spiral Rise. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. The Spiral Rise, I was in such a panic at the time trying to escape from that friggin', yeah, from you. Like, from the two Inquisitors. From the two, I don't know what they're called, the two casters. The ones that just slam rings of light at me. That I didn't even explore there. I was just so relieved to find a site of grace. So first off, let me kill the one up here. And then we can explore down there a bit. So, yeah, I never really explored this whole area, did I? The steps... Drawstring golden grease. This is already something I missed. Is there anything I could jump to from here? No. Is this how I got up here, though? These stairs? No, I came straight up here. I just never looked at these stairs at all. Entirely missed them. There's a whole friggin' section here I didn't see. Inquisitor ashes? The Inquisitor hags wield barbed candlesticks. One of the Inquisitors casts a tower hex to heal HP, while the hex of the other boosts her own attack power. Inquisitions often perplex the minds of the uninitiated, and so seniority was viewed as an asset. So these are actually the elderly. That's... You know what? People of all ages can be coercive, torturing tools of the state. That's empowering. Try jumping. Okay. This is where we get there. Look at that. Look at that. This is where we get into the what must be the puzzle. People jumping from here to... Look at that! So you could probably jump to... You could jump down a little bit. To where? To there. Anywhere else along the side you can go here? No. Yeah, you can jump down to there. Do you have to run and jump? No, it looks like you can just jump. Just a regular jump. Like a long-tailed cat. And this is where online probably makes things a whole mess easier. Right, so you want to actually probably go... Yeah, I think falling down here is probably okay. Huh. Somber 8. Where would we go from here? Probably nowhere from here. Up and around, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole... Online makes this a whole mess easier, doesn't it? So we get a little... The thing is, I'm expecting to get knocked off at some point, like that there's going to be an enemy. Where are we, even? We're just above the tower. We're just part of the tower here. Nice view. Try jumping. Oh, you know what? Poor, I say. Lordsworn's Bolt. So we could probably get down there. And then further down. Is there a middle platform? I think we could just jump safely here, right? Like that's... This isn't Dark Souls 3. Well, sir... Oh god, hi. Okay. Dog ahead. Oh yeah, a bunch of dogs. Well, a bunch of cats, really. And then we can keep going, and there's a bunch of bloodstains here. What's killing folks here? Tough jump? Yeah, you need a running start, it looks like. If you can do that at all, unless there's somewhere else we're supposed to jump from. That's going to be tough, but we can try it. Yeah. Well done, thank you. We're in Belurot. We're in Belurot Tower Settlement here. What? We're in Belurot. How cool is this? Oh, fucking... Ah! I hate that. I hate that so much. Yep, I'm just trying to get Sleep Evermore off. Okay. Oof. Yeah, nighty night. That was an unpleasant surprise. Another Shadow Tree fragment, because I know that I'm only at Shadow Tree level 18, so there's at least, like, a bunch more I missed. At least 4 that I was missing, probably more. We got 2 directions. I saw that come out of nowhere like a candlestick, and I thought I was getting jumped again. This is an elevator. An elevator to where? To where? What? Not here, I believe you. I don't know what that's about. Death. Is this unlocked? Did this unlock a shortcut now, or what is this? Group ahead, time for rushing in. So some Inquisitors. Get bared. Mother of... Okay, alright. Alright, I see it. I don't like it, but I see it. I was hoping this would be a shortcut, but no. This is a shortcut to nightmares. What else would... Oh gosh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want another Divine Beast. Divine Beast Warrior. It's gonna I could run past it. I'm not in the mood to fight another one of those things. But let me first see what the other path was. Can't believe there's just another section here. Bonkers stuff. Another elevator. Up to where? This isn't a this is a shortcut back. This isn't a shortcut to get me here faster when I die. This is just a shortcut back. Okay, that I care less about. Unless, is there someone like above here that we're able to jump down to? I doubt it. Yeah, my plan is to run... If I can survive by running past the Divine Beast Warrior, I'm going to do so. I don't want to... Unless the warrior is the thing that's holding the weapon. And that could be the case. I doubt it, though. It's coming fast. Oh, I think it sees me. Yep. Nope, 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 nope. Please just let me run. Let me run. Let me... No! Fuck! 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 Just panic roll. Just panic roll. Just panic roll. Just panic roll. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Please get me out of here. Don't come down the stairs. Divine Beast Warriors are afraid of stairs. They have a great phobia of them. Shit! Okay. All right. I'm not taking that back up. I just don't want it near me. Well done. Something incredible. This has got to be it. That looks like a legendary weapon. All right, what is this? What's hidden so down here? What kind of weapon are we looking at? Euporia, a Twinblade. Ooh. Oh, a Faith Twinblade. Twinblade symbolizing abundance. It's as mickle as it gets. The secret treasure of the tower. Though the blades fashioned from golden shoots are largely wilted and darkened, their luster can be restored by dealing damage to foes. So hitting enemies makes them get lustered. Which, however, damage dealt to those who live in death will have no such effect. That's so interesting, because it's like presumably holy damage, but it doesn't, but not all that holy. It's like different from the Holy of Order. Unique skill, Euporia Vortex. Using the power of the vortex, violently twirl the armament, dealing multiple slashes directly ahead. The greater the restored luster of the blades, the greater the power of this skill. However, use of the skill will fully consume the blade's luster. It's a whole separate mini mechanic. That's really cool. I'm glad I saw this. Thank you for the nudge to check this out. And we are here. Oh my gosh, this was in sight the whole time. We are right above the Manfly section. This was right above our heads a million episodes ago. Okay. Okay. So, before we wrap this whole thing up, because this is just going to be a short one, I want to look at two things. One will be my favorite weapons from the DLC, and two is favorite bosses. I'm not going to do least favorite bosses, because, I don't know, I don't want to feel sour. And there weren't that many I didn't like. Phase 2 of the final boss I didn't like. And there were a number of ones that were kind of... I didn't like the Gravebird, not the Gravebird, the Ghost Flame Dragon, where you had to fight the whole army around it. There's a couple, and there were a couple that were kind of forgettable, but there weren't many I actively disliked beyond that last phase of the final boss. Anyway, for weapons. So, weapon number one, and this is no particular order. Weapon number one is the Dry Leaf Arts. These are just kind of all tied for 3, depending on how my mood is at the time. I think the Dry Leaf Arts were just really, really cool. And I am glad that they have introduced this, and I hope that they bring them back for, like, future games, whatever next is, whether it's Elden Ring 2 or... I know Night Rain's coming out. I hope that apparently there's, like, pre-made characters. I hope one is maybe, like, a monk character. I don't know. I think these were absolutely great. Number 2 is a surprise hit for me. It's the Smith Script Shield. Smith Script Shield was brilliant. The whole discus hurl thing gave me so much more range, and kind of tied for that is the Smith Script Dagger. The Smith Script weapons let me use consumable. They felt like I was able to. It was like a ranged weapon. It literally was a ranged weapon. And so the feel of it, like the whole, like, felt, I don't know, it just felt badass. And it was incredibly useful in both of these in different ways. I wondered if it's like the Cirque useful in different ways, the Spear useful in different ways, are there different contexts where they're great? Like, I like the fact that if I replay this on a different, like on a non-Dex character, there's more, like I can try the Smith script axe or other stuff. And then number one for me, I guess they're all tied, but this is probably ended up being my favorite, was the backhand blades. I never really ended up using their Asha, their baseline Spirit Ash, the thing where you jump around a guard to their left or right much. But just the vibe of them, the whole curved sword, this was exactly what I was hoping for with that sort of elegant Dex melee combatant that I like with it, I wanted with this character. Yeah, just big fan of these. And then top three, I'm gonna do top three favorite bosses I have in mind. One is going to be an honorable mention, and that one is Promised Consort Radahn. I really love this boss. I'm separating out Promised Consort Radahn from Radahn Consort of Miquella, who I very much did not love. But Promised Consort Radahn, I had it's honorable mention because it's a little bit one-dimensional for me. I love the mechanics of it. I really enjoyed kind of dealing with learning the dodges, learning the rolls. I'm sure I made it tougher on myself than it needed to be, staying right close to him. But I enjoyed that whole process for the first hour and first couple of hours, learning the first phase. Super fun. The second phase, not so much, but we've talked about that. Number 3 was Roman, a Saint of the Bud. She wasn't, I guess, like a major story thing. Well, she was a big thing in Rao, and I still don't even quite understand her story in Rao. Like understand her progression or where she came from, whether she was always about the rot. But there was a comment, I forgot who made it, so I apologize, that like the verdigris stuff that Moore was wearing was rot based as well, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's not as gross as a lot of the rot stuff in the base game. And so it feels like just a part of nature. It feels like it's just a part of the world, like it's a healthier type of rot, weird as that sounds. And maybe she was part of that. Maybe Romina was part of that. But the colors of her fight, the pink butterfly thing, I'm a sucker for butterfly bosses and butterfly aesthetics. The mechanics of it were like very manageable. It was kind of almost more relaxed than in some fights and more manageable. And it was a very, I enjoyed doing the fight. I enjoyed seeing it. I enjoyed dying to it, and I enjoyed winning. Number 2 is Midra. And I see here that I forgot to actually activate this Site of Grace. Whoops. Discussion Chamber. Midra. Yeah, so Midra, Lord of Frenzied Flame. Mechanically, I basically beat him as soon as I brought a summon out, but I also don't care all that much. The whole vibe of the atmosphere of Midra's Manse, the abyssal woods leading up to this, the eerie feeling, kind of the king in yellow colored flavored, cloaks and everything around here. What are these cloaks hanging up here? I don't know, but the cutscene, the pulling the popping off his head cutscene, when his head gets replaced and suddenly he's the guy from the cutscene. He's the guy from like the when you become the Lord of Frenzied Flame cutscene at the end. Even just the mechanics, again, it feels like Romina, where like his sword movements felt manageable. They didn't feel this hurricane of death that like you'll see with, and I guess that's why I didn't put Rolana Twin Moon Knight, who I expect a lot of people have up here. I loved Rolana, but she was a bit overwhelming for me. I'm old and slow, and I don't move so good, and I don't see so well. So I don't know, I appreciate Rolana, and I really enjoyed Midra. Midra was like the perfect level there. which is, again, not as frenetic. And at the same time, seeing how, like, when he rose up, there was this grace to him. That when he rose up for that second phase of, for I guess the third phase, for the second phase of the real fight, and then burst down and the room was on fire, and how, like, when he spun around, the head stayed stable. Huge fan of him. Which brings us to number one. Number one fight that had the aesthetics, the mechanics, the build-up, everything. Number one. Number one is the Lamenter. Greatest boss in video game history. Number one is Baal the Dread. Number one is absolutely Baal the Dread. I love this fight so deeply. And Egon, I can't neglect Egon's part in this, because Egon was a large part of what makes this so flavorful. You saw him from the very first moment, because their stories are tied together. The very first moment that you saw Egon, I thought it was a comical character. And to some extent it was, but he just put his whole ass into every part of him. Every part of the story and every part of his voice acting was just, he was full balls to the wall. And the fight itself, because Baal has no dialogue. He's just a big old dragon. Baal's dialogue was Egon's dialogue. Curse you, Baal! A hail of harpoons! I'm never going to see the word harpoon and not think of... I don't see the word harpoon that often in daily life, but whenever the word harpoon comes up to me, in video game, if I'm at a whaling museum, I'm going to think of Baal. What an iconic job that guy did. But, I'm sorry, going to think of Egon. But Baal, the mechanics of that fight were great. You could see the flavor, how wrecked the guy was. Like, we've seen dragons that were hurt before. Like, there was, what's his name? I never played the Dragon Age, I never played Dark Souls, the base game. But who was the dragon in the base game that, like, got shot with the arrow, and so he was kind of wounded, and you had Sin, the slumbering dragon from, or slumbering drake or dragon from Dark Souls 2, who was, like, poisoned and kind of, like, he had that sword sticking out of him. No one has been in as rough shape as Baal. Like, just bony stumps left and right. And he used his size so well. I know the term cinematically probably gets thrown around a lot with him, but like, how he's just hurling his body across this arena, but it never felt, like, unmanageable. Like, I kind of always saw what was going on. It wasn't, I don't know, I didn't feel like I was fighting the camera boss as much as sometimes you can in those giant arena, in the giant boss fights. The thunder, the clouds, the wind, the whole fire lightning storm about him, and that transition. Like the wings sprouting up of pure, I don't know, what were the wings? Were they just pure will? Memory? And I guess Placidus Axe was the second most messed up dragon that we've seen, main boss dragon, but we can definitely see that Placidus Axe won that fight. Yep. Baal number one. I even think I would tie Baal with Mesmer. I put Baal above Mesmer, but I just as I'm thinking about this, I can't believe I forgot Mesmer. Mesmer I would probably put right in that list as well. Mesmer was right up there. He was such a core story focus of the thing. I kind of wish that Mesmer were the main villain, that they had found some way to make Mikola and Mesmer like either like one to like the final boss and penultimate boss and final boss or something like that. Because I appreciate this. This made a good the Mesmer fight was a good punctuation on Shadowkeep. I can't get over the fact that the Radahn fight felt like we've seen Radahn. It wasn't like, I was really hoping they would have made it Mohg's body and like a really new set of stuff, and like I just felt like something we'd seen before, as opposed to if they did like what I was hoping, what I was hoping in hindsight, which would be like Mohg's body doing like Radahn's stuff, or just something totally new. I don't know, that would be asking for a different story at this point than the one they were telling, but I feel like that wouldn't have been that big a change to find some way to just not make it Radahn. Anyway, I'll also give even an honorable mention here to Metyr, Mother of Fingers. Mechanically, I didn't like the boss. Mechanically, it was very low for me, but the artistic side of it was so high that it goes in an honorable mention for me. The arena where you're looking down from the water to the top of the ocean of birth, seeing all these giant fingers poking out there, the design of her, the whole like hands on either side, and the moments right before I got angry at dying to stuff I had no idea how to avoid, where she would soar up in the air. You could see like her hand wings splay out, and she would either hover and spin across the room or like summon that microcosm that blasted out laser at each side. God, I love that. I just wish I didn't dislike the mechanics of that fight better. Maybe I just have to... It's hard to say if I just didn't understand it or if it really... like, because it could be like super clear and I just misunderstood it, but it felt like I didn't know what was going on, and even I tried to find ways to around it, and I just wasn't seeing them around some of that stuff anyway. Anyway, that's going to be it for me for now, I think, though. Thank you for joining me here. This has been a blast for me. This whole DLC was... I was in rough shape with it at first. Like, again, I struggled with it early and really got into it over the past few months as I built up more momentum to it and just played it more often. I'm sad that now I've played Elden Ring and the DLC for the first time. But that's what watching LPs are for me at least. Why when I watch a new LP, it's a chance to see someone experiencing it for the first time and to kind of get that vicarious experience myself. So one last request then is, do you have a recommendation for an unspoiled Let's Play of the base game and the DLC where they're doing an incantation build for their first time? I would love to see that, and I don't see it. I've looked around and I haven't found it. If you know of a good incantation unspoiled Let's Play, let me know. So that's it. I hope to see you. I'm going to take a bit of a break, maybe probably a week or two break, and then come back to start Dredge and or Mass Effect 3. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.